10 a.m. on Monday, July 31st, 2023. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioner's Court to order. At this time, if everyone would stand, and I have the privilege of giving their invitations. Holy Father, thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. Thank you for such public interest in proceedings happening this morning. We just lift you up. We pray that you would give us your wisdom in the decisions we make on policy and on any financial decisions and other things that we have to do today. Lord, we pray that you would be honored by the decisions that we make, and that you would just have your hand upon Wichita County and our residents here. Just ask for special blessing. We do pray for rain. We had a lot of it leading into the summer, but the last few weeks have been hot and dry, and our land needs it. So we ask that you would send your rain on us. And Lord, we ask for your protection of those who serve us both in the military, but also as our first responder community, that you would take care of them and protect them, and just bless them for their service to their neighbors. Lord, we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, the pledge to the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone may be seated. Unless your name is Tony Coronado. Tony, we're going to ask for you to come forward. We know you love being the center of attention. And Ricky, would you come forward as well? Oh, turn here. Okay. We'll go over here. Yeah, come on over here. Here's a little close. So, Tony is going to be retiring here. When's the actual day?
Today.
Today, isn't it? So if you need something from Tony, you got 6 hours or so to ask him.
Judge, we hadn't voted on that yet.
Yeah, you didn't know we have to approve all retirement. So we did want to honor Tony for 8 years of service to the county. Just appreciate, Tony's one of the first people when I came in and was meeting all the maintenance staff, just always seems to have a smile on his face, just doing his job. Appreciate him a lot. And so we just wanted to take this chance to recognize you for the hard work, to wish you well in retirement, and to give a few people a chance to say some great things about you. So with that, I'll ask Ricky if he wants to say a few words.
Tony's I've been here 2 years, and I inherited a great team, and I've been really fortunate. Tony being part of that team, he's been an intricate part, and so we're definitely gonna miss Tony.
Yeah. Mark, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, Tony, I do appreciate all you've done for Wichita County. You, as well as the rest of the staff, always are top-notch professionalism. Your work quality is outstanding. You're going to be very hard to replace in your role for sure. I'm going to miss you. You've been awesome to work with every day. If you look on your plaque, it has a jail key. You're hanging up your keys. So Tony started with the county in the jail as jail maintenance.
Wow.
So I know as a longtime maintenance man, your keys are sacred. So now you're hanging up your keys, but you'll always have one to take with you. So we appreciate you.
Would you like to say anything?
Well, maybe, yeah. It's been tough. It's been a long road, you know. There was times that I didn't think I was going to make it, but I tried to hang in there. And I'm glad I did. I really am. I feel fortunate to work here, and I've never had a job that, you know, that was going to pay me a retirement like this place is. And, you know, I spent 20 years in construction, you know, so, you know, as y'all know, y'all don't get anything from construction, you know, work. But I really enjoyed working here. You guys are good people, and I'm going to miss all of it. And I really appreciate it.
If you ever get thrown in jail, you got a key to get out.
Nobody else can go through that door.
I'm glad you said it was a jail key. I was worried we were getting the keys to the county.
No, it's an actual jail key from when the jail was here in this building. So
Good deal. Good deal. All right, well, I'm going to bestow that to you,
Thank you, sir.
and thank you very much, and ask everyone else. All right, Ms. Lee, just take a picture.
Okay.
Make sure you're
Photo opportunity. More powder. Excellent.
All right, thank you.
Powder, don't
Yeah.
And Tony did bring his wife, who is actually a retired maintenance employee as well, so.
Tony, thank you for everything. Just
Appreciate it. Thank
great
you, sir.
to work with you and always had a great attitude.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
And I don't know if everyone heard it, that was a very subtle shout out to the county's retirement plans. If you think about that, the county's a great place to do it, good benefits. We're gonna switch gears a little bit and at this time do a proclamation for Bicycle Safety Awareness Month. And I'm just gonna read the proclamation and then ask Commissioner Beecham to say a few words. We got a lot of people who are here for this event today. So, whereas the bicycle is an economical, healthy, and environmentally sound form of transportation, as well as an excellent tool for recreation and enjoyment of Wichita County's scenic beauty. And whereas promoting a bicycling-friendly community has been shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life, growing the economy of Wichita County by attracting tourism dollars, and through philanthropic endeavors during our annual Hotter Than Hell 100 Bike Weekend, Wichita BMX events, 90 for Dad event, Tour de Dirt events, the Longest Day cycling event, and MSU collegiate cycling events. And whereas the Wichita Mountain Bike Trail System, the Wichita Falls Circle Trail, Wichita Valley Rail Trail, Wichita BMX Track, and Wichita Falls Skate and Bike Park offer recreational resources that benefit county residents of all ages and abilities while encouraging healthier and more sustainable lifestyle and transportation choices. And whereas Team MSU Cycling exemplifies excellence across all cycling disciplines, representing the Wichita County community across the United States and winning multiple conference and national championships. And last whereas, promoting, encouraging, and supporting the continued growth in cycling opportunities in Wichita County by shared road use, adherence to traffic laws by all motorists as well as cyclists, and developing a local culture of bicycle safety and awareness. Now therefore, the Wichita County Commissioner's Court does hereby proclaim the month of August 2023 to be Bike Safety Awareness Month in Wichita County, Texas, and encourages residents to choose biking as a beneficial, healthy lifestyle. I feel healthier for having that. So this now asks Commissioner Beecham to say some things.
I want to thank all you for showing up this morning. Bicycle safety is a very important thing. If you watched any of the news this weekend, we had a upcoming promising young star that was preparing to go to the World Championships in Scotland. His name was Magnus White. He was killed on a cycle in Boulder, Colorado. He was just 17 years old. It happens to all abilities and skills. We've lost 3 very dear people in our bicycle community over the last year. Started with Nancy Beaver, who was very active in our local cycling community, and I had the honor to ride the Hotter Than Hell with her grandchildren last year in honor of her. We had Charlie and Lisa McBride earlier this year that were tragically killed on county roads in a neighboring county. It happens. We need to be aware. We need to watch out for cyclists. They're out there in force this time of year training for Hotter Than Hell. It's your brothers, sisters, parents, grandparents, moms and dads that are out there on cycles. That we need to watch out for them and protect them. So we've got a big crew here this morning. I want to ask Chip to come up and take the proclamation. And we have people from all over the cycling community on this side of the room. Y'all want to all come up and get your picture? Come on. I mean, Chip is from Hotter Than Hell, and I'm all that somebody, but yeah. Becky Richards from Bike Wichita Falls is probably our #1 bike advocate in Wichita Falls. Wichita Trail, everyone's represented.
Good.
Becky, come over here with Chip. You're our number one cycle advocate, so. I want, yeah.
You're good.
Good picture.
Awesome.
No.
Thank you, Mark.
Let's all watch out for you guys, particularly this next month when we're out in force on the roads.
Yeah, let's watch out for everybody.
Absolutely.
Bicycle safety is one of the biggest things for us, and it really ought to be for everybody in the community. If there's a bicycle accident, it's not just the people that get hit on bicycles that pay a price for the rest of their life. It's the folks that were driving the car.
Absolutely.
Okay, there are laws in some cities about the 3-foot rule, staying away from people, and it's not just cyclists, it's also people that work out on the roads, county people. I ask that someday we get that here in Wichita County. It would be a wonderful thing. And it's really an educational tool, because once that law is in place, then people get educated about it. It really doesn't change a lot, it doesn't make it more important, but it just brings it to mind. You ask for your help on that.
Yeah, and last week, not this past weekend, weekend before last, on Saturday, I was blessed with the opportunity to be an advocate for cycling across the country, and got to lead a bicycle ride in Austin with about 60 county officials from all across the nation, and put the message out, not just locally, but represent Wichita County and Potter Hill on a national stage. So, in Austin, with Bike Texas. So,
Well, we appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you.
So, thank you guys.
All right, thank you.
Whatever y'all can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all are welcome to enjoy a commissioner's court meeting, but no one will be offended if
Thank you.
Thank you all. I know you all are really busy this time of year, but thank you for taking your time.
you. Yeah.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. Do you have any other presentations on your? All right, it is 10:14, and at this time we will open up public comment. I remind everyone that we ask the comments be limited to 5 minutes or less. And anything brought up during public comment, no, the court cannot take action on it. Do we have any public comments this morning?
Judge, I'd just like to mention that now more than ever, please be careful out there, whether you're welding, whatever you're doing. We've got some dry conditions bringing forward pretty quickly, and so I know this weekend the fire department spent a lot of time out in the field, and it's not getting any better, and with the delayed rainfall forecast, then we could be in trouble. And typically Barry tells us that, and he knows that he's dealt with one already this morning. So.
Yeah.
Well, and piggybacking off of that, Commissioner Watson and I were talking over the weekend when this fires break out in the county. And just a reminder, because it was I think National Weather Service, it was even a low fire danger day. But as dry as it is, it doesn't take much and it can happen. So thank you for.
So did the Hatton Hammond fire threaten any physical property or just rangeland?
I just know what I heard in the news, because I didn't go because it was in the city.
It did damage a house on Quincy, not two, I think the one was a total loss. So east end of Quincy,
So
south
that's
side.
in the city.
Yeah, it jumped over to the city side.
Okay.
When the humidity's at 10% and it's 105 and the wind's blowing, green grass will burn.
Yeah.
So don't be reassured by the fact that it's a little green. it's dangerous out there.
I had sent Saturday afternoon my guys to Gentry Road or into Bonner out close to the red with the dozer because the forestry service was spread too thin. And we had one going on Huntington and the Hammond Road deal, and then this one out by the river, and it was worrisome. So,
Well, in anticipation of strong winds next couple of days, and we had a pretty large hay fire, and our team is out helping the property owner right now get that covered up. That wind goes to blowing, it'll set that whole country on fire. So we're trying to be proactive and stay on top of it, but just be careful out there.
Lee, can you start sending us the KBDI, like by Thursday?
507
So
today,
is it 507?
and I sent the judge,
Okay.
Colby Melvin, on an email this morning about the feedback from the fire departments and some other things, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comment? Okay, it is 10:17 and public comment is closed. This time, let's move on to the consent agenda.
Judge, I had a question on item 2. I want to make sure I understand how we compensate, or if we are compensating Amoresco, and got Rick here, maybe he can tell us how engaged they are with it. I don't like the way they are calculating their measurements, and I just didn't know, are we compensating them?
No, this is part of the original project. We did meet with Travis Prill from Amoresco. He came in from Washington State this past week. The calculations were based upon the test and balance after the project. There are some ongoing issues that they are aware of, that they're working toward resolving. If everything is working like as designed, those numbers are correct. But right now, we have some control issues. They're working on that. I've asked for next year that they do a resurvey of everything and give us actual numbers based on the conditions at that report time.
Yeah, because the proof's in the pudding.
I agree.
I can do
No.
all the math formula I want to, but my electric bill was this last year and it's this year, I mean, that's easy.
Yeah,
So,
but we've also made drastic changes to this building in the
have.
meantime.
and that's why I wondered, I mean, what is the compensation for Amoresco on an annual basis? I mean, how are we paying them? Or
We're
have
not,
we paid
we've
them?
already paid them for everything.
Okay, that's
They
what
just-
I wanted.
They
So
continue
there's-
to monitor, they send somebody up every year to
Okay.
make sure everything
Okay.
that was put in place is still operating properly.
Okay,
In this case, we have control issues. If you look back on last week's agenda, we are sending Rick, or not sending him, we're having him do it on computer, having him trained completely on our control system, so
yeah.
he would be factory trained to their standards. 'Cause-
What was the story on that, Rick? I mean, when Amoresco came and tackled this monster here that has issue, weren't they supposed to be able to regulate that or fix that or deal with that?
Well, I wasn't here during that project. I came after the project was already done, that part of it. Outside the fact that the contractor that was doing the control side has still been working on the system since then. So, but it's just, problem lies in just not really getting things finished and finished properly. And it's all in the hands of the person that's doing the controls programming, so.
Yeah, since Rick's taken over, we have somebody on board that actually can understand what was done, and what was not done. So Rick's holding their feet to the fire, and I thank Rick publicly for stepping up and taking.
No, I was glad that you're willing to go to school and train on that deal because I knew that they just didn't seem to get the ball in the goal.
Yeah, we have a lot more confidence in Rick
Yeah, since
taking
Rick's
care of
on,
it.
since Rick's on board, Amoresco's been a lot easier to deal with, and they're at least trying to get the problems resolved.
And Commissioner Watts, the agenda item number 6, that's just a change in the, how we're paying it, not anything
Right.
else. Okay.
We knew that, that cost was slightly above what a lease to own or outright purchase would be, slightly. But every year, if I stay in a leased rig, we wanted to try this for a while, they give me a new one every year. And of course, that is our biggest use piece of equipment, and so we went going down that trail to see if that isn't a smarter way to manage.
All right. Any other questions on the consent agenda?
No, motion to approve.
Second.
And Barry beat you to it.
Okay.
All right, we've got a motion from Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Muller to approve the consent agenda. Motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, moving along to general business. Item number 1, review and approve the regular bills for payment, order county treasurer to disperse payroll, verify payroll taxes have been filed, and bill payments within 72 hours via U.S. Mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically, unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
Having reviewed those bills on Friday, Judge, I'd make a motion that we pay.
Okay.
Second. And Judge, shouldn't that say, and mail payments within 72 hours? What is bill payments? What is that reference? And bill payments within 72 hours?
Yeah, that's kind of a strange wording.
It means pay the bills.
Yeah, I think because it's not mail payments, because we've taken care of that in the second part of that sentence. We can get some clarity.
Before I put in the verified payroll taxes, it was to disperse payroll and bill payments.
Oh, to disperse bill payments. Okay.
Okay.
So for next time, for sentence clarity, we'll move the clause of that sentence on the payroll taxes after it, so we don't separate that.
Gotcha.
We knew we were gonna do grammar this morning.
It does sound strange the way it's written.
You could strike and bill payments and it would be fine, because we already addressed bills in the first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And then we talk about payroll and taxes to be filed within 72 hours.
That's because they keep
Clean
adding
shut.
verbiage to it
We will do that.
without reading it before or the after.
Oh, goodness.
I taught math, but I can do proofreading too.
And I did,
That's
and I
student
believe that
signature.
Mr. Jones did send an email out to everybody on Thursday or Friday that payroll taxes had been filed, so. All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Muller, seconded by Commissioner Watts to approve. Do we have any comment, questions on this item? Okay. Motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item number 2, announce the appointment of the new elections administrator and take action to authorize the administrator designate effective August 1st, 2023. So, I'll just recap for everyone. I know that commissioners probably remember, but for anyone in the public paying attention, the court approved the appointment of a new elections administrator back in early June. And as part of that, an elections commission was formed, made up of 5 statutory members. County judge as the chair, the county clerk as the vice chair, the tax assessor collector, and the chairs of the Republican and Democratic Wichita County parties. Before I go any further, I do want to publicly acknowledge their contribution, all 4 of those folks, and thank them for their time. As we'll talk about here in a little bit, this was not a small task, and it was not a small amount of time that was spent. So I just wanted to publicly thank each of them for their involvement and attention on the process. We ended up meeting on 5 separate occasions, and on the first meeting, trying to establish the characteristics we were looking for in a candidate, the parameters for the search, and I wanted to highlight up front that there were a lot of different characteristics each individual person was looking for, but there were 3 things that came out for all of us that we agreed were essential. And the first was integrity, the second was organization and attention to detail, and the third was we wanted somebody who loved the elections process, someone who knew of its importance and who loved getting into the nitty-gritty of something that I think by and large you either love or you don't. And so we did meet on 5 different occasions. We did 3 different occurrences where we did interviews, and we discussed it thoroughly, and then came to a decision. And we did vote unanimously to approve Robin Fincannon as our new elections administrator. Now, was going to ask Robin to be here today to talk to the court, but she's actually at an elections training conference with our county clerk put on by the Texas Secretary of State. So I'll be asking her to come and address the court next week. But before I go any further, I did want to offer the chance for anyone that served on the commission who wanted to speak about the appointment to come up and to do so. And so I guess first Julie Wilson, would you come up and address the court? Morning.
Morning. Thank you, Judge Johnson, and definitely to the county commissioners for the opportunity to make this statement. I have to say it was a privilege to work with you, Judge Johnson, and with all the members of the board on this. Without exception, we all share a desire for fair elections that are run efficiently with accurate results reported to the public in a timely manner. Although that sounds simple, the reality is that not all counties succeed at this, even with an elections administrator in place. It's just not as easy as it sounds. With this hire, Wichita County has a real opportunity, not just to improve the process, but to excel and to be an example to other counties of how elections should be managed. This action by our county today shows a firm commitment to achieve that goal. We are especially blessed to have Robin Fincannon to lead us in this effort. She is perfect for this role and did an excellent job in her interviews. However, elections cannot be run by one person, and she will need our ongoing support. We as citizens must also step up, volunteer, and participate in meaningful ways for it to work. So this is a great start. Let's step up together and get the job of elections done. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
This time I'll ask Terry Gilliam to come up and, the microphone has a hard time hearing you. Come forward, so.
I'd just like to say that I am the newly appointed Wichita County Democratic Chair. So I joined the process a little more than midway, actually. So I do feel like that I had the same requirements that everybody on the committee did. I was impressed to work with the committee, and I was impressed with the candidates. When I joined, there were 3 very qualified candidates in the running. One withdrew, and that person did have a lot of election experience, I'd like to say. But of the 2 remaining candidates, they had excellent qualifications, but there was one person, and that was the person that we all agreed on, that we feel like will do the best job and will represent Wichita County the best that we can be represented. And I feel very comfortable and look forward to working with this person. So I am excited that Robin was chosen and looking forward to all the elections. And thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to just publicly, I know, thank everybody, but would like to thank Terry again for stepping into probably an unexpected role in the middle of it and taking on that job of being the party chair to help us get the commission to do its work. So thank you. And then Tommy Smythe, would you like to?
Yeah.
to come up
You,
and say
you
anything?
declare anything for me to say?
You're not at a loss for words.
Oh, I may be at a loss for words.
Since when did you need preparation?
Yeah, well, I do my best work extemporaneously.
Somebody start the timer.
Start the time. No, listen, on behalf of the commission as a whole, and certainly Judge Johnson, and a great commission we had. This was, like the judge mentioned, this went over 5 separate meetings, and the interview process itself, the judge gave us well over a month to try to get our questions together. I certainly want to convey to the community as a whole, these were not what you call a cookie cutter interview. Probably some of the most extemporaneous interviews that I've been a part of. Very situational, very scenario minded as far as what we ask our candidates. Robin rose to the top. This job is going to take a certain temperament and demeanor. Her organizational skills, the fact that she's already had her feet wet since March is certainly a plus in this deal. Very, very enthusiastic. I think she'll do us a great job. We're at a great point to move the county forward. I think that all the wouldas and couldas and shouldas and wish we had us, we need to put that in a rearview mirror. We're all interested in great elections, I mean, from a bipartisan standpoint. And again, I'd like to reiterate what the judge said that this was a 5-0 vote. And I think that speaks well as to where we were as a commission moving forward with Robin. On behalf of my office, I told Annette last Thursday, anything we can do, our field offices in Mercadale, Electra, and Iowa Park are the venues for early voting, and anything we can certainly do to help Robin. We're going to do it Monday through Friday and twice on Saturday and Sunday. So anything we can help her, we certainly are. I appreciate the support of the court moving forward to this. It's going to take some personnel, it's going to take some resources, it's going to take some infrastructure, but that's where we're at in elections in this country. And like I said, it was a very fun and a very unique process. Before we started, one of my deputies said, "That was awful sweet of you, Tommy, to volunteer for this commission." I said, "There ain't nothing sweet about it. It's statutory." But anyway, had a great time, and I think we got the right person for the job. Let's move forward.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
And I am the 5 of us all did write a letter that the commissioners, all the commissioners should have, and then I'll send that out to all the press outfits so that they can see it. And I just wanted to read a couple of sections from it that really get at ultimately why we made the decision that we did. While each member of the commission had their own specific list of characteristics they were looking for in an ideal administrator candidate, all of us agreed on 3 essentials: integrity, organization, and a love for the intricate details of the elections process. Robin had a home run on these 3 areas, as well as others. Her enthusiasm for elections, both in behind-the-scenes administrative work as well as at the polls, was striking, as was her plan for correcting the deficiencies in records retention and organization that had been present in the past. The commission interviewed a lot of good candidates. However, it quickly became apparent to all of us that Robin brought the best combination of attitude, expertise, and experience to the table. We know that this choice may be met with some consternation or dismissal from the public, and we understand that. However, we would encourage everyone to reserve judgment until they have seen the results. We are confident that our new elections administrator and elections team will bring a level of transparency and excellence that will make all residents of the county proud and confident in the process. One of the things that the commission, all the members of the commission wanted to do was have Robin come back after 30 days to brief the commission on how things are going, what resources might be in order, just to keep the commission in the loop and to give us an opportunity to have some hands-on oversight, not interference, but just some oversight, because ultimately the commission serves as the hiring and firing body here, and so we wanted to make sure that we remained part of the process. And then, of course, this court, when we made this decision to move forward on the appointment, I think the court wants to hear that same presentation too, and to have an oversight role as well. So with that, this agenda item, as you noticed, there's two parts of it. One was to announce the hire, and then the second was to take action to authorize the administrator designate effective August 1st. So we made the position effective September 1st, and as I talked about at that time in court, I just want to reiterate today, statute allows for us to approve the administrator designate
90 days?
Up to 90 days ahead of time. So I'm asking the court to authorize the administrator designate effective August 1st.
This is not the court approval of that appointment, it's the court approval of moving forward
It's
with the office.
correct.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the court approving who the commission appointed to be the designate, so that she can take office 30 days earlier, not as the elections administrator, but as the designate.
As the designate.
So that we can, so she can hire staff.
So,
And I'll make that
Right.
motion, Judge.
but
And I just want to say, too, that I was elated to have a great commission that y'all have. I was worried because Terry was vacant right up the front. So glad when she was the one that filled that role. So total confidence in the group. I knew your hearts were in it. You wanted to find the person that we all thought and wanted to, needed to fill that role, and y'all sought that out diligently. So thank you very much for all the work on that.
thank each of you for your efforts. It was a daunting task, so glad it was you instead of me.
Well, and November elections will be here before you know it. Deadlines are already rapidly approaching even this month. And so that's another reason why I asked for the court to approve the administrative designate effective August 1. So we have a motion to do so by Commissioner Watts. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. At this time, be happy to answer questions, or if there's public comment or questions from the other commissioners, be happy to do that at this time. Do we have any comment or questions on this item? Okay. Then the motion is before us to authorize the administrator designate effective August 1st, 2023. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries 4-0. All right, and with that, I'd like to again thank the members of the commission for their work on this. All right, moving on to general business, item number 3. Discussions with the county treasurer's office and the auditor's office regarding measures that should be taken to ensure payroll taxes and all other necessary taxes and payments are made in a timely manner.
Judge, I've got a question. I want to make sure that my understanding, Stephen, is correct. And just correct me where I'm missing or dropping the ball. Payroll tax deposit, in our scenario, is a function of the auditor's office calculating that payment, calling you and telling you what that payment is, you electronically, immediately, making sure funds are in that account, you dial in using a PIN number, you make that payment, you receive a confirmation back, which in turn you give back to the auditor's office. Am I missing something in that function?
It's slightly dated. What happens is the office over there calculates what the payments are going to be. It even goes on the Wednesday list for the following Monday. I receive a paper check that comes with the backup documentation, usually by Thursday. I put that into the computer. We've got a wonderful website that the IRS has that we log into. We make the payment, set the settlement date for when the money comes out of our checking account and goes into theirs. They give me confirmation numbers, and I record all that. And then the paper check that we have sitting in front of us is marked with paid via wire, and held on to for required amounts of time before destroyed.
And why do we write a paper check and don't just transfer the funds from one account to the other?
My understanding is so that we have physical documentation of what, and record of what we're doing.
How do you have physical documentation when you EFT a payment to a vendor?
When you EFT a payment to the vendor,
I mean, wouldn't that be the same scenario as this is, when you're actually paying a vendor or a required government payment of sorts?
sure, it could be. It's just usually not a huge number that's super important that has big fees.
So we're doing the wire on Thursday with an actual payment date of Monday after Commissioners Court meets to approve that payment?
No, actually, the payments are wired on Friday. That's the
Friday, okay.
required due date by the IRS. And there's been court orders in the past to go along with local government code that allow us to actually do that before it actually goes on the court agenda.
It's
It is
just a
confusing.
function of payroll.
It is, it's a function of payroll.
but generally.
Otherwise, we couldn't pay our people on time, and we couldn't pay the federal government on time.
Right.
So the court at the time, I don't even remember when it was, but the court working with the local government code put that together, as that's why we're allowed to do it that way.
This Commissioner's Court made a court order authorizing. Is that what you're saying? Or
A commissioner's
No.
court, I don't know when it was, but
What originally happened, remember when we had a payroll we used to have to do and approve that payroll Friday, and then we got out of that because there was a AG opinion, or I don't know
Yeah,
exactly where
we-
it came, but that changed the process,
Changed the
allowing
process.
us to go ahead and make the payroll function happen, occur, and then it actually approves after the fact.
Seems odd that we send out a check for a payment that hasn't actually been approved.
well, I
That's
can't imagine a
contrary to
situation
everything
where the
else we
court
ever
wouldn't
do.
approve paying payroll taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see in the local government code where that's authorized to be done that way.
We'll look it up.
Okay.
But if we didn't do it that way, we'd have to come up with a whole new procedure for how to
Yeah.
get it approved before we
No,
know what the
I'm
numbers
not
are.
arguing. I'd like to see it in local government code rather
Mhm.
than speculative.
Is Commissioner Beecham saying he wants the court to meet another time during the week?
No, no, if he could just provide me with the local government code where it shows that that's authorized, I would like to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm also informed, this is also a AG opinion relating to that
Okay,
as time has progressed, so.
okay.
So,
That's fine. I mean, I just want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
so Stephen, moving forward, you are sending out an email on a bi-weekly basis as payroll happens, just like you did last week. You're sending that.
Yeah, I attached the acknowledgement paper and sent it out. This part of the procedures that we've had since we first noticed there was a problem, put things together. I just hadn't been sending you guys an email. I'd been conferring with the auditor's office and letting them know it went out.
For a, any continuity, and we have this all over county government. When elected officials change, there's a loss of institutional knowledge, there's a loss
Mhm.
of just an understanding of things that you might not think about that get lost in that transition. I guess I would ask you, and I think I've got an idea, but I'd ask you, how do we change and make sure that we, in continuity in the future, that it's maintained?
Yeah, for the continuity of operation, what we have done, and this was a mistake that happened. I honestly think the last day of somebody's term, the first day of somebody's term, it's fairly often that people make mistakes. Nobody had any malicious intent. It was just an accident that happened that we're trying to fix. And as part of this, we've gotten written procedures, and they're filed on a shared drive between myself and my office and a couple of the people in the auditor's office that are involved with this, with authorized people that can take care of this if I get hit by a truck on the way home today. So, honestly, adding emails saying to y'all that it's been done, I can't imagine any additional measures that would be more than cosmetic at this point.
Stephen, when in the problem that we had a few months ago, and there were fines involved, have we exhausted everything we can to try to get some remediation in those?
No, not at all. We're still working on that.
Because I would think, under the circumstances, when you go back and you see what happened, that there would be some opportunity there to maybe follow up. So I'm glad that we are.
There is, and
need help with that, or
we've gotten help from a lot of people, and we're continuing to work on the best practice to get that taken care of.
yeah, we really need to exhaust that, and hopefully there will be something there that'll bring us some relief.
I'm sure there will. Like I said, we've talked with a lot of people about it. We're continuing to work on it, and one of the things is just timing. We're waiting for the IRS to give us a total, and if you want to call the IRS and ask them for a number, you're welcome to give that a try.
I'm not sure I want to make that call.
Yeah. So that's, the holdup from one week to the next. Why don't we know? Well, we're still waiting on a number. But we
we're
are
not just walking away from it. We're going to exhaust everything we can.
And honestly, I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to resolve this and get that payment back. But Mr. Fincannon mentioned one of the other times we talked about this. When they charge you for money, you pay it. That was what the last one was about.
Yeah.
So that we can stop them from charging us additional penalties on what we don't feel like we owe them in the first place.
Many years ago, I had one experience with this in a personal business that people don't understand how difficult this can be until you get in the middle of it. And I mean, we had, that was back in the day, you didn't have emails, you were mailing stuff back and forth.
Well, they still do.
Yeah, and every time I'd send a payment in to get it square,
it was already late.
The mail would cross, and I already had additional penalties. I finally drove to Dallas and sat down at the desk, and that was the only way we get it resolved. These things are very difficult to get straightened out, but as long as we're going to exhaust all our possibilities, I mean, that's the best we can do. But I'm hoping there's some relief there.
Oh yeah, like I said, we're hopeful. We've got people working on it, and we're not letting it go. It's not what we do.
After you go through it, you don't make that mistake again. I promise you that.
So was it just one pay period we were late, or?
No, it actually turned out to be several, and we talked about this before too. There was a misunderstanding as to the due date. Every Thursday that I got the paperwork saying this is what we owe, I would file with the settlement date that we believed to be correct that was on the opening, and when the IRS talks about it on their website, it says it's due on the following Wednesday. Like most of us, once you get an answer, you go on with life instead of continuing to read the IRS website. But farther down, there's another caveat that they put in years later that changed it for counties that pay over $100,000 in payroll taxes, that makes it due the Friday before, which is kind of contradictory to common sense. Normally when numbers are bigger, you have a little bit longer. But being the IRS, they do it backwards. So we didn't find that until we got the first check, or the first letter, which was after the first quarter. So there were more that hit 2 or 3 days late. We never missed a payment. We made them on the wrong day. And those are the fees and penalties that we are trying to get resolved.
Okay.
And as soon as we knew that that's what had happened, we changed the procedures immediately and haven't been making the mistakes since. We've just been fighting with what we have.
For the first quarter, we were using the old method.
Yes.
Paying on Wednesday.
And until we got the letter, yes. So what we're waiting on now is what they think we owe them for the 1 or 2 pay periods in the second quarter before we receive their letter.
And how many times were we delinquent in the previous year? Do you know that?
I don't know. I believe it was 1.
Okay.
And again, I'm not here blaming someone else. I'm saying these mistakes were made and we're moving on.
No, I'm trying to get a
life.
clear picture of what's transpired and what we may owe.
Mhm.
Stephen, what is the size of that payroll payment?
Every one?
It's basically the same.
Roughly $250,000.
Every payroll cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you authorize the payment or wire the payment, we're going to receive that notification to all the commissioners' court.
Until you get sick of seeing them, then yes.
Well, no, we'll get sick of seeing them because we don't want this to happen again.
I don't
It's
either.
not pointing fingers or anything. The only oversight we have is the checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
And I think each one of us on this court have taken angry calls from our constituents as to what are you gonna do to ensure this doesn't happen again?
Mhm.
What are y'all gonna do to hold people accountable? Only thing we've got is checkbook, and we need to see how that checkbook's being used. So-
Right.
And that was the point of having this discussion today, is what are we doing? What steps are we taking to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Not pointing fingers at anyone, not anything like that. Just what are we doing to ensure that we're protecting our hard-earned tax dollars that the citizens pay in? So,
Right, and hopefully this has allayed those questions.
okay, now hopefully so. So we,
And I will ask formally that whatever the final answer is on whether or not this is going to be abated or lessened to some degree, that the court get briefed on it.
Sure.
Whether that's good news or bad news, we would like to know. And I think the public should know as well, so.
I agree.
absolutely.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? on
Thank
this
you.
item?
Mhm.
Thank you, Stephen.
Any public comment, questions on this item? Okay. No action needs to be taken on that item. Thank you, Stephen. All right, item number 4, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve one of 3 proposals from C&I Electronics for a monitored fire alarm system in the EMO and county clerk's buildings at 110 Jefferson Street, to be paid from general fund contingencies with lines determined by the county auditor, and an additional monitoring fee of $35 per month for both buildings to be paid for from Department 406 with lines determined by the county auditor. Mr. Burgoyne, you want to present this one?
Sure. We had a couple, 3 regular smoke alarms like you have at your house in the building, and they got bad, and I called Ricky, and they came over and replaced them, and it got me to thinking that was the front building that we're in is a very old building, and the wiring is not the best, to say the least. We've had electricians come to do things before, and they've just not wanted to work on it because of liability. So I'd hate to see that building burn down. We'd lose a lot more than just a physical structure. We'd lose a lot of services for folks. So I did called C&I and asked them to produce a quote to install a monitored fire alarm system. And while they were there, I asked them about doing the county clerk's building too, because it's on the same property, on the same network kind of thing. So I got 3 quotes there to do one building, the other building, and both buildings.
So option 3 is just the same quote for option 1 and 2 added together.
Yeah, add it together. Yeah, I tried to break it down in case, the back building, the county clerk's building is a lot newer. Electrical's, really good in that building.
And
But there's
that,
always things that can happen.
and that back building, I know y'all know this, but that back building is our where a lot of our elections equipment and
Yeah.
records are stored.
It'd be tough if that burned before an election.
Nothing in your equipment storage facility, Lee, is on this. I mean, if a truck was to combust.
Not that big carport deal, no. I mean, it's separated by, 8 or 10 feet, but I didn't get a quote on that.
And the $35 a month is the only ongoing cost, Lee?
Yes, And this is, it'll be part of the same alarm system that we have now, it'll just be separately monitored. So if there's a fire, C&I will call 911 or whoever they call and dispatch fire department.
So no annual recurring fee?
No, sir.
That's right, we're not buying
No.
software.
No, not on that.
So we've had problems with monitoring contracts in the past. Is this still an ongoing problem? I know several times I've asked to have contracts on this building and other buildings for monitoring, and was directed that we couldn't do that because of problems.
Are you talking about specifically fire?
Problem in the language of the contract.
Oh, I don't know.
That we
We've,
couldn't do an indemnity clause.
I don't know. We've had CNI since I've been working here, and we've never had any trouble with that. And this is a function of their service, so I don't know.
We've
Several
got a few of
occasions.
those accounts, but those are the ones that were signed a long, long time ago.
There were several
guess.
occasions recently where I was told we couldn't do that.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I do know that I went down and talked to the fire marshal and told him what the thing was, and he said, basically we were grandfathered in that we wouldn't need fire alarms in those buildings for anything. That it was a good practice, and I think they specified with CNI, the minimal amount of monitoring stuff. I think there was a pull station each building or something that had to be put in.
Well, and if we do move forward on this and we get language back in the monitoring agreement that council looks over and has problems with it and we can't resolve it, then we won't move forward with it.
It's been problematic in the past, and we never could find a resolve for the language.
How long ago was in the past?
Since I've been here, when we moved jail out of this building, we had to build a workaround.
And that was just for fire or for monitoring
That
period?
was for
It's gonna be
monitoring fire.
monitoring.
Is there a new agreement necessary? I mean, does anything change with the agreement we have with CNI today?
It would just be a new building, new contract, new system, so it would need a signature on the new contract. And I think that the issue with like the law enforcement center was that one of the attorneys didn't want to sign because of, I guess they wanted their own special contract, and we can't do that through our insurance as a monitoring company. We can't change the contract.
There's an indemnity clause that we can't sign.
It doesn't sound like that's changed.
That's how we're doing it in other buildings.
Let's, one again, it would have to come, even if today we're looking at the proposals. If it came back on, we'd still have to sign a contract and an agreement, and we'll go through the legal review at that time. If there's a problem, then we won't move forward.
If we had a fire in the storage building, let's just say, and the alarm system picked up on it, by the time that gets put out, would we not have lost our voting equipment? I know that's a very hypothetical question, but it bothers me a little bit because if you've got a fire going and by the time you get response, and then you come in and you spray water on it, are we gonna be able to provide that service anyway?
Well, I think,
Just a question.
the city fire department, I think their response is gonna be 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be good.
So it'd
I'm not
be a
picking
good
on the fire department
response.
at all. Their response is excellent, but I'm just saying, are you gonna really protect what you're trying to protect?
Well, I think it's a difference of maybe losing some equipment or losing it all, kind of thing. You're gonna probably have some water damage as well.
That's just, when you're talking about that sensitive voting equipment, I'd say, I'm speculating, guys, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, you put that kind of heat on voting equipment, you're gonna have to send it all back to the factory to be recalled.
Or water on top of it.
Water on that. That concerns me,
I've never thought about that.
and I sure want it protected because we need it and we need it to be ready when we need it, but are we actually buying that, the protection we think we are? I don't know.
Well, so I'll ask the CNI expert here. The sensors for those fire sensors, how quickly are they detecting a problem that isn't seen before something is seen by the naked eye outside? It happens at 3 in the morning.
A majority of the time, they've got a like this one here has a 30-foot range, and with combustion, there's going to be smoke before there's fire, unless it's just a really clean burning fire. 9 times out of 10, that smoke detector is going to go off and give the fire department time to get there before it's a raging inferno. So.
If you got an electrical fire, you're gonna probably send smoke before combustion. That makes sense. And I'm not saying that that's you know, that's a make it or break it. I'm just asking the question, are we really buying the protection we think we're buying? I'm not sure we are.
Well, I think,
It's
I don't
like
want
I
it,
said
let me put it
earlier,
this way, I don't want it to catch on fire. I
Even
promise you.
even green grass will burn, and,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think those were your
Yeah.
words earlier.
I would think if there was gonna be a fire, it would be in the mechanical room. There's 2 furnaces and a water heater, and that's it's got a door on that thing. So if there's a sensor in there,
And
that's what the fire is.
Until it happens, you'll never know. I get that, but I'm just, $14,250. This goes back to the software discussion we were having Friday. How much protection can you buy? I acknowledge that it's a challenge. I know we've got a problem with keeping our data safe, but guys, where's the end to it? How much budget do you have?
I can tell you with confidence, not enough.
For everything. Good point, Judge.
Is this a budgeted item?
no,
No, it's contingency.
no. The monitoring will be. So already paying monitoring fees out of that from my
So
budget.
what we don't have, what do we got, smoke detectors now, Lee, in there? I mean,
In my building, smoke detectors, but
so
I
if you
mean,
were there, you'd hear it go
right,
off.
in our building,
But it
yeah, in the
doesn't do
front.
anything from.
There's nothing in the
2
back
o'clock in the
building.
morning.
No,
Yeah.
no. The clerk's building, I mean, even if we were in our building, it'd probably be pretty far along before we realized it
Yeah.
without a smoke alarm.
Well, especially like if it's in the back, you're in
Yeah.
your office in the
Yeah.
front. I mean, that's just,
Yeah, I'd have to see smoke
Logical.
or fire in the camera kind of thing.
I don't know, guys, I sure want that stuff to be protected. We do need to protect our services, but are we? I think that's the question.
Can I give you an example of, he had mentioned
I'd love one.
the mechanical room is probably your most likely area to have something catch on fire. A few years ago, the Faith Refuge out there on Hatton Road, their electrical room caught fire. It was a transformer that exploded, and our smoke detector caught it before it spread anywhere in the rest of the building, and they were able to get the fire department out there and get the fire put out before it left that room. So,
And I think that's probably more effective in a general building scenario than where you're trying to protect electronic equipment is my point.
Well,
I just don't know if you get there, but.
That building,
Yeah.
I know everyone's been over there, but the warehouse building, it's a large building and
It's open.
it's open, and I'm trying to think of the mechanical room, is it right there when you walk in on the right?
If you walk in from the south door and you go through the kitchen area is right there on the right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Something catches on fire there, it's a ways to travel before it starts, affecting.
So it might
It
offer,
might.
it might offer protection. I'm just asking the question. but
Let me ask a question, and I was never aware why we were over there where we're at, but now that we have room available in the courthouse, why do we keep the equipment off-site somewhere else?
Well, I think the answer to that is because before we didn't have room in the courthouse. I think now, it's a great space and well organized for the purposes that we need it for elections records and equipment. It's a great space for it.
And it's a controlled environment, it's air conditioned and heated, so, which makes it more susceptible when you've got that going on. You got everything shut off, you're a lot less susceptible than if you've got.
But would we not have space here to do that now?
The 2 old cells up on 4 would be ideal.
And shut off or put into storage that facility for some period of time or repurpose it? I don't know. I mean, it would be so much easier to keep from having to go all the way
Yeah.
over there. And this building being already,
As long as the elevator's working.
That was my next question, how difficult is it gonna be to access machines on placement day?
It's a discussion worth having before we
Yeah.
approve this, at least with the new elections office.
And is that ready could we move stuff over? I mean, is it ready to go, those cells?
They're cleaned out.
The reason I ask is that the elections team there's a lot of organizational stuff to do, and rather than organize over there and start to move it,
Yeah,
so if it's ready to go, then that's something that,
they're both cleaned out. One of them I was gonna move DA documents into. The other one should be empty.
Would that be record storage too?
Yeah.
Everything-
Yeah, it's perfectly suited for it. I mean, they've got bars and you put all the records behind.
But we ought to run this by our new elections administrator.
It's at least a discussion we should have.
okay.
Not a bad idea.
Though it sounds like though then everyone's kind of wanting to hold off on this item until we make some other decisions.
Maybe hold off on the clerk building. The other one's more important to me.
We just want to find that homeless.
I just threw the clerk's building as a bonus, you know, I just,
We put you next there to the door to the voting machine.
yeah, I'll be in the next cell.
You know, once again, guys, I'm just asking the question. I want it protected, but are we getting the protection we think we are? I think that's my question. And,
Well, the only thing we have in our building that's, I mean, we have some laptop computers and stuff, but the loss of that building would be pretty tremendous, at least to me.
well, you've got quite a bit of radio equipment and stuff.
A lot of it, yeah.
Well, maybe we just do at this time, take option one and then kind of upgrade it and rig it out so that we'd at least be notified if there is a smoke occurs and then hold off on the second building until we know where we, and like I say, Barry said the elections administrator, she'll know real quick which direction is easier for them to work through.
Work best. Yep. You can always add if you want to go that other direction. And
Sure.
Probably protecting the records is as important as the equipment itself. I would
Right.
imagine.
Yeah. All right. So was that a motion for option
That'll be a
one?
motion, move forward with option one.
I'll second that.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Watts and seconded by Commissioner Muller to choose option one, which would be installation of a monitored fire alarm system in the EMO building only. And of course, this is all contingent on the monitoring agreement legal issue being able to be
And we'll
resolved.
certainly look at the other if that's the
Yes.
direction we have. We
Exactly.
don't want to leave that out, but.
Okay. All right, do we have any public comment or questions on this item or this motion?
Judge, I'd just like to say that CNI's here. Can I have you look at ours? I don't know what precinct 4 has. CNI is our vendor there, but I don't know that I have any form of notification.
We can come take a look.
Okay. Because we've recently had, you've come and done some stuff the sheriff's department recommended for us to do, and we're moving that direction, but we never approached this. And maybe they're part of what we've already got existing. I just can't see that in my, I don't see those in my mind for sure, so, okay.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, the motion is before us for option one. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, general business item number 5. Discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve one of 3 proposals from Tacoma Builders Supply to install magnetic card key locks and make modifications to the doors as needed on the EMO and county clerk's buildings at 110 Jefferson Street to be paid from general fund contingencies with plans determined by the county auditor. Mr. Burgoyne?
So this is another, I threw the county clerk's building in there as a bonus because we're going to do it on one. If you want to do it on the other one, that'd be fine. But I know we've tried to go through and help the county clerk's building with access. We redid the keypad, the alarm pad, where everybody has separate codes in there now, so we kind of know who's coming and going based on the information we can get from central services or central dispatch, whatever they call it, CNI. So I'm not really, I don't have a dog in that fight, but I think that just overall, it's just the way security is moving to key cards. And it's a lot easier for us to keep track of key cards, so we can program them, we can lock people out.
With only 2 people in your office?
Do what?
With only 2 people in your building?
No, a lot of people have keys to the building. A lot of people have keys.
Who has keys?
The judge has keys, maintenance has keys, the city has keys, I have keys, the weather spotters have keys. There's a lot of keys out, and I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm not saying that that's super difficult to keep track of. I'm just saying for accountability that we could go to a magnetic card key system. We could, put a Knox box on the outside of the building. The fire department has a code to the gate. We could do that on both buildings, so they could have card keys. And then I can also, enable them and disable them as people come and go. So we also have, the side door in the building. We use that for training. So when we're there during the day and there's a class going on in the building, we can lock the door between our offices and the training room, and then the instructor can get a key and go back and forth in and out as they need to. And, the instructors can keep the keys, kind of deal.
Got 2 questions. The first is option 1, which is both, does not equal option 2 plus option 3.
So Aaron is here from Tacoma to talk about his proposals.
Aaron, can you speak to that?
3 options.
Yeah, so option 1 is for both of them, and it's 14.7. Option 2 is just the EMO, and it's 75.65. And option 3 is just the clerk's building, which is 39.12.
Correct, yeah, so those are all 3 for separate doors. Option 1 is the front door of his building. Option 2 is the side door of his building. And option 3 is the back building. Does that sound accurate? Or not?
No?
No,
Not according to what the.
I'll take option 2 and option 3 and we'll get a discount.
$3,200.
1 second, because I have the quotes here.
Matt, maybe.
Yeah, the math is not right.
I hated to even bring it up, it was a good deal, but.
Are you costing money, Judge?
So I've got, on these quotes, I got 75.65 on the front door. Yeah, so this isn't on there right. And 39.12 on the clerk's building.
My guess is what happened is, just looking at it now, the quote, option 2 is the front door only. Option 3 is the door on the back building.
Mhm.
Option 1 is the front and the side door on
Yeah,
the EMO building and.
one of those is not on there.
Yeah.
So the total quote on this is 14.702, is that right? For both buildings and all the doors?
The last thing that I showed that I sent was 3 separate quotes.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So option 1 shows 2 locks at EMO and 1 lock on the clerk's building at 14.702. Option 2 shows 2 locks on the EMO building only at 75.65. And option 3 shows 1 lock at the clerk's building. So you add option 2 and option 3 together, they're the same, showing to get the same work, but there's $3,226 worth of difference.
I think
Yeah.
that second quote doesn't have 2 locks on it. It only
30,
has 1.
32.26 was the amount of the quote for the side door only.
32.26,
Yeah.
that's what we're
Yeah,
missing.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so that was my first question. My second question,
So is that 3 doors? Option 1 is 3 doors?
Yeah, 14.702 is the front door, the side door, and 1 door on the clerk's building.
Oh, not 3 doors on your building?
No, we don't really have 3
So
doors.
what was 32.26, the quote for what,
32.26 was just the side door.
of your building?
will this system interface with the system that IT
No,
has access and runs right now?
no, it will not. It's a completely separate system. I would further recommend that it be tied in with the courthouse system and every other security site that we have and make it one system. It would simplify things greatly. Because we could approve access from one console as to who has access to which building, instead of each building having their own individual system.
Does our current system, monitor who comes and goes?
Yes.
Will
Yes.
that,
It monitors based on, yeah, it would just be an extension of the courthouse security system.
Right.
So,
If we had the same system.
But I think Brendan's even looking at an upgrade at some point.
And it would be best to keep them all one system instead of having many different systems of different types. It would be best to have a single system that we use, like what we were talking about moving forward to.
What are on the doors now? Are they the good, heavy, I mean, like we have?
just a key lock, just a regular key lock.
The professional, industrial, I don't know what I'm trying to say, you know, the ones we have in the courthouse here are not something you go buy at Lowe's, you know, it's a professional deal. And my other question would be is, how much coming and going do we have on the clerk's bill? That's not a high access, high use.
No, the issue there is going to be for chain of custody on machines, records, being able to know who's coming and going.
Right.
Does help.
Yeah.
It does help buttress
Okay.
your records retention and your ability to respond to any concerns.
So this system would keep a record of
Yes.
who comes and goes. That's-
But
So-
it sounds like it now becomes a second system.
Yeah, it's a separate system with now being monitored and run differently from the one that's being run by IT for all of our other buildings.
So this card keys uses the same card keys that the law enforcement center uses. Different system, but same card keys. So we wouldn't have to have, you know, two card keys, one for law enforcement center, one for our building. So the deputies that have card keys now, those could be programmed to get in our building in the event of emergency. The ones that have access to the law enforcement center. Two separate things, but use the same key.
So my card key that gets me into the courthouse can be programmed to also get me into,
Yeah,
The new
I
system?
don't know about that part,
No.
but if you have a
so
card.
it is gonna be
If-
two keys for some folks.
Yeah, if you have a card key for the law enforcement center, then it can be, I guess, partitioned to whatever language you use on the IT stuff. The same card key can be used. You don't have to have another separate key. And I don't know about whatever Brendan's looking at for the courthouse. I don't know anything about that.
The system that we were talking about moving forward to, if we go that direction, would be compatible with the LEC. So it would put the entire county on one single compatible system. But it would still be one system, whereas this, even if we went that route, would still be three systems.
Right.
And I would prefer it to be as minimal as possible, or at least as one control panel. It makes security far easier if there's not three different entry points that have to be changed every time.
So on that single control panel, you would have access to the comings and goings of all the buildings.
Yes, which we have most of now.
Yeah.
And that would be determined by courthouse.
Correct, yeah, we are not making any decisions as to who comes and goes.
You
We're
just
the
program it
control
in.
center.
Courthouse security would be the
Yes.
one making the decisions.
But if we had that system installed and we wanted to know who had access to the voting machines, then we have a record.
I could tell you who came and went at any door, and I can do that with the courthouse now.
Okay.
Maybe we need to get some more.
Should we explore that?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
absolutely should.
I think we should take this, hearing what Brendan has available. It's not a no, it's just let's coordinate the efforts.
Okay. Do we have any questions or public comment on this item?
I'd like to see a proposal of that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. Then item number 5 is going to be tabled with no action taken today. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
Lee.
appreciate it.
Item number 6, discuss, consider, and/or take action on M&F Litigants Courthouse 2021 renovations proposal requests for metal roof over yard. We have PR number 75A, which would extend metal panels over the existing joists 14 feet the entire length of the yard. That adds $8,504. We have PR number 75B, which would extend the metal panels over the existing joints to full width and the entire length of the yard and includes 7 additional skylights. This will still drain all water inside the yard. That would add $14,889. And then we have PR number 75C, which would add 6-inch purlins over the existing bar joists and extend metal panels to full width and length, and would extend the panels over the existing wall, allowing water to drain outside the yard. This would add $23,010. Okay.
Yeah, there's 3 proposals. Right now, we have a portion of that area that is scheduled to be covered, but it's the back third, I guess, or toward maintenance side. Right now, when you're in like the clerk's office or whatever, you look down into the old rec yard, and it's less than attractive, but that's not the full reason for adding this. The metal panels over the option 75A would just be covering it up so you couldn't see down in it from the above. It's 14 feet out. It doesn't cover the whole thing. Option 75B would cover the entire width so you couldn't look down into it anywhere, but it would still allow birds and whatever else to get in between the building and the panels, and we would drain all the water that is coming off of that canopy down into the rec yard. Option 75C would cover it entirely and drain the water outside the building that's falling on that, but we still have roof drains that do empty into there, but they come into a floor drain pretty close by.
And what is the projected purpose for the old yard?
We'll use it for storage. We've got 2 small vehicles that are projected on next year's budget that will be parked in there. Lawn equipment, garden equipment, stuff like that.
Be a workable space for
it is a very large workspace for maintenance. So we're painting or whatever, we can set that up.
How do we what's the entrance for that when that's complete?
There's a garage bay door on the east side. It's an overhead door.
That out towards the cat generator side?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I had to get mine.
So,
Well, I noticed that on looking from the county clerk's windows that,
yeah. And when you get up on the 5th floor, you can look down straight into it, see the whole thing.
and how wide is that, Mark, when, if we put up 6-inch purlin and covered that with metal, how far is that from the courthouse to cover the whole area?
About 50 feet, 60 feet.
Probably, yeah.
So that's a big roof.
That's a big roof.
I would not be in favor of 75A.
Now,
The difference between 75B and C is you drain all the water off and out, and you close it off for birds.
well, now tell me again how the water on B doesn't drain completely out, does it?
The roof line stops short.
It stops short. It just-
Short of the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably not a good option.
No.
It limits what you do with it,
Yeah,
what
it
you
does.
can store there.
We're still gonna have outdoor space, if you will. It'll be more like a covered parking lot or something like that. We'll still have water going in there, but for the function, that's perfectly fine.
If I may, the big goal, I guess, for maintenance for that space is having a place where we can weld, we can use saws, things like that. We're out of the elements now. We still have water that comes in there because there's roof drains that drain across that yard. That was part of the original construction.
Right.
But, if we're not storing things that are gonna be subject to climate, moist environments, things like that, but just being able to have space to to utilize for sawing wood, for welding and those types of things, and also vehicle storage, gas storage, gas tanks, settling oxygen, things like that,
Can't bring the
that
building.
we don't want in the
Or
building.
rock salt and all the things like,
Yeah, all those
solutions.
paint cabinets and things of that nature that we can keep out there.
how-
And we would want to probably put a few fans in just for, to keep it from getting too super hot in there, but, and then there's a little office area there that ultimately was going to be for the groundskeeper that we're
It's been proposed.
interviewing for, or
Or no, yeah, you've already done that.
Yeah, we're
It
advertising.
becomes a very functional space, really, when you do that,
And that way, I mean, it's aesthetically, you can have all that stuff there and not be exposed.
you close it up, you make it aesthetically pleasing, and then it's also a functional space.
and secure.
How many drains are coming down and opening onto that floor?
I wanna say three,
Three?
yeah.
Can you, and you can't saw out for them and bring,
Well, we could.
We
I
could.
guess, But.
That might be something we maybe do pieces at a time, spread it out so the cost isn't,
well, just, Lynn, I noticed on your building where the docks are, there is a big pipe that goes across. Do you know if that's doing what we're talking about here, collecting
It may
drains
have
and
at
carrying?
one time, but whether it does that now, because the building has been changed so much,
Oh,
I would have no idea.
okay.
I think C brings us a workable space. I think it's a good investment for the future for our maintenance and things we're doing. I'd make a motion we adopt C.
Second.
I want y'all to be aware, as the project stands currently, we do not have contingency because we haven't put contingency back in for the temporary courtroom. We took 300,000 out, which
Okay.
takes us below our contingency level
Until we get paid
Until we-
from the insurance.
until we put that back in, so.
You mean I have?
But if that were not part of the project, then we would have plenty of contingency to cover any of the three options.
Makes me feel right at home. I've got a great idea, I just don't have any money.
Just to be aware, on paper, we do not have contingency money to do this.
Well, Rick, on that, no kidding, on those drains, I mean, could you kind of work up something there, maybe see while we're doing the work, if we could address that, so you didn't have to have a shop floor that had water running across it?
We're gonna wanna do that down the road, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. I can get some numbers together for that.
Be creative.
But y'all did great on this,
Yeah.
how you extended this other deal, that worked out perfect.
Yeah.
We're gonna be surprised how valuable that space will become.
No, I think it's a good space, and I would rather do it right if we're gonna do anything. That's why I said I would not take 75
And you
days.
can go in there and assemble things, you can do, there's just all kinds of things that would benefit.
Okay.
Now,
I want y'all to be aware of the
We
contingency.
just had the money now.
Yeah. It's just a matter of how we done the paper. We're
understand.
getting some reimbursement back for the temporary courtroom.
Is this gonna require new electrical and that type of thing too?
No,
Okay.
we already have it in a project to cover a portion of it. We're just extending out
Okay.
what we were doing.
All right. Commissioner Mahler made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Watts, to move forward with PR number 75C. I guess we will have to come back later and do the financial piece of it.
And we need to do a whole big wrap-up change order and to
Do
include,
it subject to
as a result of the
to
temporary
financing, or what would you suggest, Jeff?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking through.
But we don't know yet where we stand insurance-wise?
Yeah, we're still working it out. I think that this is fine the way that it is, because we're just picking an option on the request to go forward. We'll have to get the payment for it and figure that out later. So I think this works as is.
Okay.
I'll run it by the appropriate people, then if we need to come back and change it next week, we can. All right, so that's the motion for PR number 75C. Do we have any public comment or questions on this item? Okay, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item number 7, receive update on courthouse renovation, elevator projects, and county courthouse annex. Commissioner Beecham?
And we're out of contingencies on the courthouse renovation. No, elevator folks were supposed to be here last week. They did come for a little bit. They discovered that they were gonna have to reprogram both elevators to work in tandem together. I think they've gone back and rewritten the program and are supposed to be here tomorrow. My last word I got was this morning, that they're gonna be here tomorrow. They asked if there was a requirement for them to have a welding permit to weld in the building. I don't know what they're welding. I thought all the construction was done, but apparently there's something they still have to tack up. We'll see. We'll see when they get here. Elevator car 1 is back to being squeaky again.
What fixed it? It quit there for a while.
Well, I'll let Rick speak to it. Go ahead. Rick talking.
They came in and oiled and greased the tracks. Also the door tracks as well. I think they use like a greaseless type lubricant for that. But I noticed also that it's starting to growl again, so I actually already have a service call in. I've talked to Steven, the service tech. I was kind of holding off because the doors started squeaking first. So I said, let us get this other elevator up. That way when you come out and you have to take it down to do your thing, we still have an operational elevator. Well, then when I was riding this morning, I was like, oh no, it's gonna sound like Godzilla again, here we go. So I put in a service call and talked to Steven and said, let's get it done because it's gonna get worse and people are gonna get on it and they're gonna be concerned, you know. And I understand it, it sounds pretty scary. So anyway.
Is
the
that
call was
actually,
in.
Rick, every corner has a brake and it's only one corner doing it?
They're actually, they're on the sides.
On the side?
Is a carrier.
So just 2 brakes on each side? Is that what's squeaking as a brake?
It's the track itself.
Right.
So as it glides through the track, you know, it's kind of it's almost a metal thing. You know, so it needs to be lubricated. And, you know, you still have some construction debris and things like that are gonna be infiltrating those cavities for a while. And so until everything's kind of cleaned up, it potentially could be an ongoing deal until things kind of settle down on construction.
That's what they kind of told us the last time.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we have construction and dust and debris in and out of those shafts, then we're going to continue to have this reoccurring issue. Now, once it gets totally buttoned up, that won't be the case.
Does it do that on every floor or just when?
It's just on that second floor.
Yes, it seems like it's just there in that area. So
Okay.
I don't know if once the car's bottomed out, you know, and so they're lubricating the tracks, is it getting to a point where they can't get much lubricant to that area? So I'm not sure why that happens in that area, but.
Access door in Canada.
I thought about it, but I thought better afterwards.
So what's the, on the temporary courtroom, what's the status of that?
Holding, waiting on the new carpet, waiting on the new furniture. As soon as that stuff arrives, we're hours from being in, so.
Okay. And the 30th, where are we on it?
Should be getting those drawings back any day.
Okay.
We're continuing to work on details of those to present to the court.
That's right, we needed both sets of drawings for the
Yeah.
insurance purposes. Okay.
Yeah. No, we'll have the construction drawings, we just won't have some of the intricate details if we decide to go with the improved ceiling plan. But, annex, we encountered a little bit of difficulty. We had to change how the exhaust ducting was going through the building, which created a little bit of a problem. They started work before I had a PR signed on it. I had a verbal approval of concept and never saw a drawing, so they're trying to get that to me. So it created an issue with ag extension and the little kitchen that's on the second floor. They had to cut through the door, through the floor in order to put a ductwork in. And didn't bother to tell anybody, so, including me. I didn't know till Heather texted me Friday afternoon and said, "Hey, you run a bunch of stuff in the refrigerator." So,
All right.
but other than that, everything else is going well.
Do we have any other questions or comments on that item? All right. Then at this time, we will be going into closed session for a briefing and discussion with Wichita County District Attorney's Office regarding VW litigation settlement offer. This meeting is closed pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney. So I'd ask everyone who is not essential on this item to vacate the room.
program. I'm not worrying about this thing 2 or 3 days of
All right, Wichita County Commissioners Court is back in open session for the item take action if necessary on closed session item. I think there is some action we need to take, which would be to decide if we're going to approve the resolution authorizing Wichita County to settle its pending claims against Volkswagen.
Yeah, we want the 24 window combi with the, no, never mind.
This time I'll entertain a motion on,
Motion to approve the settlement offer.
Second.
all right, the motion has been made by Commissioner Beecham and seconded by Commissioner Mahler to approve the signing, or to approve the resolution authorizing Wichita County to settle its pending claims against Volkswagen. Is that sufficient, Melvin? for-
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we have any public comment or questions on this item? Okay. The motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. With that, it is 11:48, and court is adjourned.